Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Donna Feazell, and I'm your host of Donna's Edge Television, Radio, and Podcast Talk Show. Thank you so much for watching every day, Monday through Friday, beginning 2 p.m. on the Eastern Time Zone. As I get to ride home with you in the afternoon, you can find us on television. That's on Channel 182, close to Huntsville, Alabama. Always glad to be part of that. It's part of Communications and Spectrum. You can also find us on Abundance Television, found on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire. And don't forget the podcast on thenewscasters.com. And on the radio, the biggest country station in South Carolina, WZLA. We are so pleased to be part of their network as well. And a few more things are going to be coming up. I'll let you know about that stuff as it materializes. Right now, though, I've got AP Steadham with me. He's our sports guy. We've been on the show for a number of years. You know, we've been on the air for 21 years. And more than half that time, I think you've been on the show with us or been on the network with us. And we're real proud to have you.
Hey, my pleasure, Donna. Proud to be here. And thank you so much. And really appreciate it. And once again, Donna, we're on the road. Mm-hmm. As you can tell.
Don't you have like a really good job? I mean, you get to travel all over the place and these exciting things.
So we have some fun. Yeah, we're in Dallas, Texas, Donna, and we're here for the Big 12 Football Media Days. And you're asking, well, we cover the SEC. Why are you at the Big 12? Well, Donna, like everybody, you want to keep in touch with your competition. Mm-hmm. So there's some teams that potentially will be in the playoffs. Potentially, they're on the schedule for the regular season. For instance, Auburn plays Baylor, and Baylor's one of the teams in the Big 12. So we'll visit with the Baylor coach and some of those players. So we look forward to those interviews. We'll put those on our YouTube channel. And Donna, we've been exploding on the YouTube, all the people watching our interviews. We were at that Manning Passing Academy, and I think they had one question that I asked Arch Manning. You know, he's the popular quarterback for some from the University of Texas, probably the Heisman Trophy favorite and the All-American favorite, in other words. I think 50,000 people watched that one question.
Isn't that amazing? So what was the question and what was the answer?
Yeah, there were two of them that I singled out, and I think that particular one might have been, what was the best advice that you received to play the quarterback position? Mm-hmm. And so we're going to let everybody watch the YouTube for the answer, but I think that was the particular question. The other one was, what did you learn about yourself from last year? Mm-hmm. So those are two big questions that we asked Arch Manning and some of the other quarterbacks as well from across the SEC and the country. The other day we were in Thibodaux, Louisiana for the Manning Passing Academy, the 30th annual Manning Passing Academy. Yeah.
So let's talk about the Big 12. What are you expecting out of this trip?
Yeah, the Big 12, Don, you know, Texas Tech was the winner last year. They clashed with BYU twice, and they were able to defeat them handily. Now, Texas Tech, they had the quarterback signed up who was transferring for big money from Cincinnati. He was involved in the gambling situation, so he's not going to play for them. So I'm interested to find out about the quarterback that will take the helm for the Red Raiders. And then BYU, they're going to be led by their freshman quarterback from last year, Bear Bachmeier. They had 12 wins, and they beat Georgia Tech in the bowl game in Orlando there. So I think those are the two main teams, but you also have teams like Houston and Colorado, Oklahoma State, Kansas State, TCU, Utah, West Virginia is a team trying to make a comeback as well. Arizona State, Cincinnati, Iowa State, Kansas, Central Florida, BYU, as I mentioned, Baylor. And so I think those are all the 12 teams from that conference. So they're across West Virginia is the most eastern. Most of them are west of the Mississippi probably. But that's the conference for the Big 12, and they made the playoffs last year with Texas Tech, who played Oregon in the Orange Bowl, and I covered that game. So Texas Tech has a lot of players on their roster. I was looking at some of the preseason All-American teams, they must have, in the All-American teams, when I say All-American teams, it's probably first, second, and third, maybe even a fourth. They have maybe 6 or 7 players on the preseason All-American team. That's quite a roster.
Yeah, it sure is.
From one team.
About these teams. Okay, so we have a lot of drama that goes on in the SEC. I'm sure there's some drama there as well. What are you hearing about the different teams and maybe some of the adversities that they're facing right now?
Yeah, well, I know that Texas Tech, Donna, they've been in the news for the last couple of months with that Brandon Sorsby, the former quarterback at Cincinnati, who transferred and is involved in the gambling exploits there. So everybody's waiting for them to see if they can replace that quarterback. And normally they have a good defensive team. They have a roster with big money. They pay a lot of money for the roster. They have some billionaires on their side and supporters. So they're buying players from all across the country. So Texas Tech and then BYU, like I said, they won 12 games with a freshman quarterback. They're looking to continue winning. And then, those other teams, they're competitive. That's a competitive league. TCU, usually pretty good. Utah always has good teams, especially defensive front and running the ball. West Virginia, they'll be on the rise again, probably with Rich Rodriguez. People remember that name. He coached at West Virginia, went away for a couple of years at Michigan and Arizona, then he came back to West Virginia. So looking for them to make improvements. Houston's always a lot of fun. Willie Fritz was the coach at Tulane successfully, so he's at Houston now. Iowa State, their coach left. Matt Campbell went to Penn State, so they have a new coach. We know that Colorado has Deion Sanders as the head coach, so people are always watching them. Arizona State with Kenny Willingham, the young coach, very good with quarterbacks. His quarterback left, Sam Levitt, to go to LSU. Lane Kiffin bought him. So Arizona State, we met Kenny one time at the Super Bowl when he was in Phoenix. We happened to run across him at the Radio Row. So Kenny's a very good coach. He's a native of that area. I think he even went to Arizona State, so he's really proud to represent them. Baylor is always a team with Dave Aranda. He was the former LSU coordinator when they won the title. He's been there for a number of years. And like I said, they will be playing Auburn in Atlanta. So that's a big matchup for them to start the season. Central Florida has Scott Frost. He led them to an undefeated season years ago, went to his alma mater, Nebraska, didn't work out there. He's back at Central Florida. So just speaking candidly, there's a couple coaches that were at our former schools. They came back. So it's kind of interesting. You don't find that very often, but there's several in this conference, right? Oklahoma State, new coaches there. Kansas State's usually a pretty good team. We'll see if they can measure up this season. And then Cincinnati, they're a tough out. You don't want to put them on your schedule. They're very difficult. Usually they have some good teams and good coaches there. So it's a well-balanced league, I think. Big 12.
It sounds like it. So let me ask you a question too, and this is who should the SEC be worried about?
Right. I would say that the couple favorites, I think, without seeing the preseason poll, that a lot of times they release that at this media days, Donna. I'm thinking that Texas Tech is probably the favorite to win, I would think. Okay. BYU right on their tail. And then be a surprise team as well. But normally this league, if they can get one team in the playoffs, they're happy, but they're looking to get 2. Because last year, BYU, like I said, had the 11 victories, 11-2. The 2 losses were to Texas Tech, once regular season, once in the big league championship in Dallas, which I covered last year, right here in Dallas. So I think that their goal probably this year is we want to get 2 teams in the playoffs. That's what I'm thinking.
Mm-hmm. Well, who would be the Vanderbilt of that outfit?
Yeah, that's a good one on that one, Donna. I think I have to know a little bit more these next couple of days about these teams, Don, to give a educated answer to that question. But we'll find out for you. And when we have next week's show, we'll give you the preview of what we learned from these couple of days here in Dallas. And to be at the Ford Center, Frisco, Texas, that's where the Cowboys practice and everything. So we'll be out there, that neck of the woods. Yeah. But I'm sure there's going to be a surprise team. Like every league has a surprise team. But I would think I would be astonished if Texas Tech and BYU weren't contending for the title, to be in a title game. Now, it could be somebody else, a third team in there to take the spot of either BYU or Texas Tech, but I would think Texas Tech and BYU be the contenders for the championship game in their league. Yeah.
What two teams would you consider rivals? I'm talking about like an Alabama Auburn.
Oh, yeah, rivals in that league. I would say
two that just hate each other.
I would say, yeah. I'm not sure if it's that level, but I'm thinking TCU right there in Fort Worth and Baylor in Waco. They're right next to each other. They've got to be big rivals from the years playing in the Big 12 in the Southwest Conference years ago. So that goes back. I would say that goes back the furthest. And then Oklahoma State probably is in there, to play some of those former Big 12 teams, TCU and Baylor. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, you have Kansas State. That's a natural, right, Donna?
That's natural.
That's a natural one right there. And I'm just looking over Arizona State. That's a natural rivalry for many, many years. So they've got several. They do have several, Donna. I'm glad you mentioned that.
Yeah. And there's always nail biting, at some of these. So if you had to choose two teams, like the two biggest ones on as far as what you've read and what you've interviewed and what you've discussed, who are the two big ones that would be just nail biters? I mean, they're just going to be like racing each other to the finish point.
Yeah, I think when you look at probably Arizona State, maybe, I don't know, they'll probably be close ball game at the end of the year. I'm thinking, I don't know. Yeah, I don't think there's, they have a pretty good quarterback at Arizona, Fafita, and then Arizona State, they're looking for that new quarterback. Yeah. But I would think they would play a tough game at the end of the year. Yeah.
Okay. Let's go into a commercial break, and then let's talk about quarterbacks when we come back.
Okay.
We'll be right back in just a few minutes. Everybody hang in there.
Twin City Used Car Sales has been serving drivers in the Northeast Alabama area for years with a quality selection of late model used cars, SUVs, and pickup trucks. On top of our extensive selection and competitive prices, we offer professional auto financing services for used car buyers of all credit levels. Whether you've just begun your search or you're ready to secure your next vehicle, at Twin City Used Car Sales, you will drive away with the vehicle of your dreams. The sales and finance staff at Twin City Used Car Sales looks forward to serving you, and you can apply for financing online before your visit to our used dealership in Gadsden, Alabama. Check us out on the web at twincityusedcars.com or go by our location at 901 First Avenue, Gadsden, Alabama. We sincerely look forward to serving you.
Finding the right home isn't just about bedrooms and square footage. It's about comfort, security, and the feeling you get the moment you walk through the door. That's why so many families across Greenwood and the Lakelands area trust Jenny Ferguson with Keller Williams. And I'll tell you from personal experience, Jenny was my realtor, and she truly cares about her clients. Jenny takes the time to listen, to understand what matters most, and to guide you every step of the way, whether you're buying your first home, upgrading, or ready to sell. Because this isn't just a transaction, it's your life. With local knowledge, personal care, and a commitment to getting it right, Jenny Ferguson makes the process simple and even enjoyable. So if you're thinking about buying or selling, now's the time to make your move. Call Jenny Ferguson with Keller Williams in Greenwood today and take the next step toward a place you'll truly love coming home to. Shine your style at Kiss My Glass right here in the Anderson Mall. There's a place where style meets sparkle. At Kiss My Glass, every piece is handcrafted, custom designed, and made to shine just like you. Owner Beth Gibson brings creativity to life with stunning custom tumblers, gifts, and one-of-a-kind pieces you won't find anywhere else. Look for the perfect gift or something uniquely you, from bold and glamorous to simple and elegant. There's something for every style, so stop by, get inspired, and leave with something unforgettable. Kiss My Glass inside the Anderson Mall, Anderson, South Carolina, where your sparkle begins. Be sure to check out Kiss My Glass on Facebook for updates and specials and gift ideas. Good afternoon, Sunshine. Medical Minute brought to you by Dr. Chuck with Lakeland's Chiropractic, where an ounce of prevention is worth what? A pound of cure. So what is the Beamer? Okay, now the Beamer uses very gentle pulse to electromagnetic signals. This will stimulate healthy muscles and it supports the temporary blood flow. Now let's talk Beamer and circulation support. Now the Beamer gently supports natural circulation in healthy muscles. Now that's what I call natural health. Thank you so much for watching your Medical Minute, brought to you by Dr. Chuck. You know who he's with. He's with Lakeland's Chiropractic, where an ounce of prevention is worth what? A pound of cure. I hope you have a super duper awesome rest of the afternoon. You take care. We are back. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Donna Feazell, and I'm your host of Donna's Edge television, radio, and podcast talk show. Thank you again so much to all of our wonderful sponsors. You guys are the absolute best. We appreciate you sticking it out with us. 21 years and a half years being on the air. We appreciate that. Oh, we're tickled talking about somebody that's been on a while. That's AP Steadham. We see it. How long have you been broadcasting?
Oh, Don, I think, it's good. I think we're in our 4th year, something like that, broadcasting this show, that particular show. And we've had so much fun with our guests. Last week, Donna, we had Kevin Carter. People in the SEC might remember him. He's an All-American at University of Florida, the sack leader in the NFL. He played for the Rams. He was a first-round draft choice. Donna, he's from Tallahassee, but he went to University of Florida in Gainesville, even though Florida State's in Tallahassee, of course, we know. So Kevin's a CBS analyst. He's at the desk every week when you watch games on CBS. And Donna, this year, CBS, they're going to have the Big Ten. They switched. They're not doing the SEC. They switched away from there years ago. But Kevin still follows the SEC, of course, because he's a Florida graduate. And so he keeps a close eye on those teams. So he was our guest. We had a lot of fun discussing the SEC and college football and other things pertaining to the sport.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's talk a little bit more about the SEC, and then we'll get back to what we were talking about previously. As far as the SEC is concerned, have you seen any new developments this past week?
No, not anything happening. Getting close now. There are media days, and Don, I'll be there in Tampa. That will be not this week, not next week, but the following week, that July the 20th. It's 4 days, Donna. So they split it up evenly, 4 teams per day. So that makes it a slightly smoother transition for us. Instead of doing like this particular one, we're here in Dallas, we're going to do 8 teams per day.
Ooh,
that's 16 teams in 2 days. We'll be hustling from microphone to microphone. Yes. But the SEC, no new developments. Just, you're waiting for the new coaches to see what they do and see who's going to make the transition as the coach in the SEC and who's going to have the quarterback that's ready for the season. You look at, as I said, Georgia and Texas. Texas, they have that down. And think about this. 3 years ago, we weren't discussing $47 million roster.
Wow.
$47 million.
Hard to believe.
Yeah. So the water boy's expensive on that roster, right?
I'll say.
Whatever. So, but $47 million for the roster. And some of the SEC, well, maybe I can bring this up next week. Maybe we'll go over the top 10 list, but there's several SEC teams on that list, as you could imagine. But they're at the tops right now, 47. But they had about I think it was a $40 million roster last year. Didn't make the playoffs now. So I emphasize that point all the time. You have all the money. Do you give it to the right people? That's what matters. Everybody has millions to spend and splurge, but have you given it to the right people? Like Vanderbilt, 10 wins came through for them, right? First time in school history, went to a bowl game, and they spend it on the right people, I think, making that dramatic leap. So, but Texas, they were close, but they're pushing for it all this year, down with that $47 million roster. They brought in Cam Coleman, from Auburn, the wide receiver, a couple of running backs, one from North Carolina State that had committed to Alabama, switched over to Texas. So there's all kind of things happening. But Texas is a team, I think, in the entire country, Donna, I think they have the most pressure. Because they didn't make it last year with that high-priced roster. Arch Manning is getting up in years now. This is his second year as a starter. He played well the last 7 or 8 games. You can watch what he told me, Donna, for that interview when I spoke to him at the Manning Passing Academy, 30th annual Manning Passing Academy. So Texas, more than any team, more pressure than anyone because of that roster and Arch Manning being in his at least third year there at Texas. So, Ohio State, they always have the pressure to win, as does Alabama. Any of those teams that you've seen win championships through the year. But nobody has this pressure, I don't think, like Texas this year.
Do you feel like, with the changes that have happened, do you feel like that it's not going to be the same ones over and over again? Could there be mixture of winners?
I think that could happen. There's always that surprise team you're looking at right now. Notre Dame, Donna, they made a sweetheart deal, which only they can do. Mm-hmm. All they have to do is reach number 12, and they're guaranteed a spot in the playoffs. If they're ranked number 12 by the committee, you cannot knock them out. No, so they'll be an automatic. Whereas before, Donna, you remember, you could be number 12 but not make the playoffs, even though there's 12 teams in the playoffs, because there's the stipulation of having these other conferences involved. Mm-hmm. And if, for instance, last year Duke was the winner of the was it Duke or Duke? I think it was Duke of Virginia. One of those teams. I forgot now. Last year was a million miles away from me. But anyway, one of those teams that won the title, they were not above James Madison and Tulane. So even though they won the ACC, they could not reach that level and be in the playoffs. But with North Carolina, with the Notre Dame, if they're number 12, you can't knock them out of the playoffs. They're automatic for the, so they might knock somebody else out that's above them, actually. Yeah. So that could happen.
Let's put all the teams together, okay? Let's pretend they're all in one group. Did you ever watch the show The Weakest Link?
I think so.
What would happen is there would be one person that everybody was afraid of. They were afraid that this person was going to be the winner of the $1 million or whatever it was.
Right.
People were always trying to take that. They would actually team up with each other to take that big, strong one out. So of all the teams in the United States, who's that one that everybody is just really trying to dig at to get rid of them? Who would you think is?
Well, Notre Dame is probably that team because they have the sweetheart deal. Mm-hmm. They all they have to do is claim number 12, and they're in the playoffs. So everybody's trying to beat Notre Dame and knock them out of that number 12 spot, I would think. Because the other teams, they're associated with a conference.
Yeah.
And so they're trying to climb and be in contention for the championship game of that league. Mm-hmm. Whereas Notre Dame, they're looking at them and saying, gosh, they only have to be number 12 and they're automatically in. Even if we win our conference, we may not make it.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, I think Notre Dame is that team, Donna, because nobody has that type of deal.
Okay, in your opinion, let's go. We went to the strongest, and who's got that? Okay, who would you, in your opinion, is the slowest team right now of any conference?
Oh, you mean
who's the weakest?
Gosh, Donna.
Auburn, please don't say Auburn.
No. I think Auburn definitely had the chance to be much better on offense when they brought in the quarterback, Byron Brown and everything from South Florida, plus their coach Alex Golesh. So, let's say the SEC. Let's look at the SEC. Mm-hmm. In the SEC, the teams that are usually struggling is Vanderbilt. We know that's not the case anymore. Mm-hmm. I'd say right now, Arkansas and Kentucky would be near the bottom, but they have new coaches. So Mississippi State, they're trying to win some games. They're coming close. I say South Carolina had the 4 wins, 4-8. They're trying to recover. So when you discuss the teams that are struggling near the bottom for the SEC, trying to make an ascension this season and rise to the occasion, Arkansas, Mississippi State, Kentucky, South Carolina at the moment. But they have South Carolina. Out of all those teams, I think South Carolina has the potential to be much better than the 4 wins, I would say. Yeah. Okay.
Let's talk about the most unpredictable. And I think I know who you're going to say.
Yeah. I think a team like Missouri, I keep pointing them out because they have Austin Simmons. He transferred from Ole Miss. He was the starter before he got hurt, and then Trinidad Shambles came aboard and led him to that magical season into the playoffs and a couple of playoff wins. They were in the semifinals, which they might have expected, but not with Trinidad Shambles, a Division II transfer from Bear State. So I'm thinking Missouri is kind of a wild card team. They have a chance to be good with Austin Simmons at the quarterback position. But can they beat some of those top level teams? Can you go 500? Let's say you have on your schedule, let's say you have 5 teams marked as tough games. Can you win 3? Can you win 3 of those 5? Maybe that'll give you 2 losses for the season. You'd probably be in the playoffs. But that's a big if, though, right? It's a big if. A team like Missouri, can you be 3-2? And I'm saying you win those other games. You win those other 6. Those other 7. Can you be 3-2 against the top level teams on your schedule? You'll be in the playoffs. Yeah.
Well, would you say Tennessee is unpredictable? Because it looks like they're going to have a streak where they're going to do something.
Yeah. Tennessee. Yeah, you're right. Go ahead. I interrupted you. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, that's it. Then they slip.
Yeah, Tennessee. Now they have to come up with the quarterback, Donna. George McIntyre, I saw him throw down at the Manning Passing Academy. He was really impressive. He's tall and lanky, 6'5" or so, 6'6". So, in Josh Heupel's offense, Donna, he always gets receivers open. They always are open in his system. He has a very good offensive scheme. So, can this quarterback be accurate, grasp the offense, make the right progressions in anticipation with his throws? Tennessee can be a good team. They played some good defense last couple of years. And they brought in a top-level defensive coordinator who won the title with Ohio State, was at Penn State last year. That whole situation blew up. So now he's at Tennessee, a veteran of I think it's 35, 38 years, something like that. He's an excellent defensive coordinator, one of the best in the country. So can they play well on that side of the ball, find themselves a quarterback, get through these first couple games? By the time they get to Alabama, they host Alabama in October, that third weekend usually. So Tennessee's a team. Yeah, we're definitely watching Tennessee with the new quarterback. And they normally have good receivers at Tennessee. And offensively, they like it. I always have liked his scheme, Josh Heupel. It seems to be quarterback friendly, which means the players get open, receivers get open.
Absolutely. Okay, let's say we've got about a minute left in this segment. Is there a new player out there, may not make it this year to the Heisman, but that's Heisman credible?
Yeah, right. Let me see, Donna. I'm thinking of all the players.
A lot of good new players out there.
Yeah, there's a lot of good players, different quarterbacks, running backs, wide receivers. I don't know what type of year he's going to have. Different conference. Jeremiah Smith he's an exceptional receiver, Ohio State. This is his 3rd year. He's got a quarterback, Julian Sayin, who I think came in 2nd last year. He was in the top, one of the finalists for the Heisman Trophy. Jeremiah Smith. I'm trying to think of something in the SEC who might have. Well, I think Trinidad Shambles myself. I mean, the way he performed last year at quarterback.
You mentioned that a lot.
They're not going to be in the playoffs without him. He was tremendous for him last year, and they won 2 games. Almost won that 3rd one against Miami out in the festival, which I covered. So Trinidad Shambles, he might be somebody that gets an invitation to New York, possibly from the SEC.
Never know.
Arch Manning is the favorite from the SEC, but Trinidad Shambles, I'm thinking if he performs the same, he might get an invitation.
Sounds good. AP, thank you so much for being with me on the show. It's always so much fun. I know you're having a blast down there and can't wait for those interviews. It's going to be so much fun. And you're going to have a lot to talk about next week. Oh, yeah. There'll be a lot of interviews at AP as we see it on our YouTube channel. So check them out. Thank you so much, Donna. Absolutely. And thank you guys so much for watching. Continue sending email, Donna@donnasedge.com, Donna@donnasedge.com. Hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Thank you for watching.